So, a few days ago, Nintendo had one of their shareholders' meetings where they got to talk with all of their investors and answer any questions that they may have. And we just got the upload today for all of those questions that were asked and officially translated into English. So, this can be found on the Nintendo IR website. And I will have it linked below in the description because I'm not going to be going through every single question inside of this video. But there is a very important topic that got discussed inside of this that I do find really interesting, as well as a few other things that I want to touch on as well, so I figured we could take a look at it and I can give you guys my thoughts. Alright, so here is the official PDF with all of the questions and answers, and one of them that was asked here was, when Nintendo Direct is streamed on external platforms such as YouTube, there would seem to be risks such as information being leaked in advance. Does Nintendo have any plans to create its own means for delivering information directly to consumers? And the Nintendo president Furukawa replied by saying, in the Nintendo Direct streamed on June 9, 2026, we shared information about new titles scheduled for the end of 2026 and for 2027 and beyond, including Nintendo titles. We are grateful for the many positive reactions to the lineup that we announced. Nintendo is constantly investigating ways to provide information directly to consumers, including Nintendo Today and other means. Currently, Nintendo Direct is watched by many consumers all around the world. While continuing these activities, we will keep exploring what forms of information delivery are appropriate going forward. So this person, I guess, was asking just specifically about like the possibility of like YouTube, I guess, spoiling stuff, but I feel like this was also kind of a question that maybe they could have talked about in terms of like just leaks happening in general, because clearly Nintendo has something happening right now where stuff is getting leaked, and we knew about some of the big announcements for this year, like a new Star Fox game and the Ocarina of Time remake, like months before these announcements happened. So I wonder if they are kind of thinking about other ways to maybe give that information, or maybe they're just trying to kind of figure out how they can crack down on these leakers so that that type of stuff doesn't really happen. And the other question that I found kind of interesting was this one, where someone asked, what impact will rising memory prices have on Nintendo Switch 2 production and profitability, and how will Nintendo respond going forward? And we've got Nintendo's president here saying, for memory-related components, we are continuing discussions with our business partners regarding supply from a long-term perspective. At this time, we expect to be able to meet our production plan for the current fiscal year, but there is still uncertainty in the market environment, so we will continue to closely monitor the situation. Procurement costs for memory-related components did not have a significant impact on our results for the previous fiscal year, ended in March of 2026. However, starting from the current fiscal year, we expect to be affected by rising component prices, including for memory. We are preparing our business plan for the next fiscal year on the assumption that a similar trend will continue. As a response to the changes in the market environment, including these increases in component prices, we recently announced price revisions for Nintendo products, including the Nintendo Switch 2 hardware. However, precisely because we are in this kind of environment, we believe it is important to continue creating compelling reasons for consumers to purchase the hardware because they truly want to play particular software titles. We will continue to responding flexibly to the market environment while aiming to maximize our integrated hardware-software entertainment business. So yeah, of course here we're talking about the RAM and SSD crisis that's going on right now, where pretty much the prices for all of these components have just skyrocketed in the past few years, and it seems like it's going to be only getting worse, as we've had like articles and other people like saying that this might go until 2028, maybe even to 2030. So obviously this stuff is just going to get more and more expensive, and it just really sucks, and we're all kind of waiting for that AI bubble to pop so that everything can kind of go back down a little bit, at least kind of close to what it used to be before. But the thing is, this is of course going to impact Nintendo as well, as you need memory and you need RAM and everything to be able to create these Nintendo Switch 2 systems, and they already announced a price increase that's going to go into effect starting September of this year, but they did say that they're going to be monitoring the situation and the future is uncertain, so you never know what could happen, and there very well could be another price increase down the road, as I think it was Xbox who just announced like another price increase a few weeks ago, and that was already after they had increased the prices before, so you never know what's going to happen. So that's why I always say, like, if you are somebody who knows that you're going to get a Nintendo Switch 2 at some point, like there's definitely going to be some games and stuff that you're going to want to play on it, I would definitely try to get it as soon as you can. Alright, but now time for the exciting thing, which is what everyone's been talking about from this Q&A, which is this question right here where someone asks, are there any plans to make Nintendo DS or Nintendo 3DS software playable on Nintendo Switch 2? And we've got the Nintendo president Furukawa saying, at this time, there is nothing specific we can share about Nintendo DS or Nintendo 3DS software. However, on Nintendo Switch 2 and Nintendo Switch, we are working to make it possible for consumers to play games that Nintendo released in the past on current hardware. By subscribing to our Nintendo Switch online services, consumers can enjoy software from the NES, Super NES, Game Boy Advance, and Nintendo 64. On Nintendo Switch 2, consumers can also play Nintendo GameCube software. We believe that being able to play these games provides a sense of nostalgia for consumers who played them in the past, while also providing new consumers an opportunity to become familiar with Nintendo's game series and characters. Taking technical challenges and other factors into account, we would like to continue exploring a variety of possibilities going forward. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this answer gave much more information than I was expecting because I was really thinking that the Nintendo president was just gonna be like, yeah, we have nothing to announce for that at this time, or just like we don't have any plans for that in development or anything like that. But the fact that he actually elaborated on this now really makes it seem like to me that this is stuff that they're kind of considering in the back of their heads, and they are maybe working on it to make it possible. And I think that there is a pretty decent chance that we will see Nintendo DS and Nintendo 3DS games maybe make it to the Nintendo Switch Online on Nintendo Switch 2. And when it comes to other systems like the Wii, I think that system makes a lot of sense, and I think people can kind of just see it happening because a Wii is not really much more powerful than a GameCube, and it's really a single screen experience, so it's going to be pretty easy to get like Wii games working on the Nintendo Switch 2. But when it comes to DS and 3DS, the big challenge is of course that it's a dual screen experience, and this was something that was possible with like Virtual Console on the Wii U, because the Wii U was also a two-screen experience where the gamepad could be like in your hand as like a touchscreen that you could use if you needed like the bottom screen of a DS, and then you could have like the main screen being displayed on your TV. But because the Nintendo Switch and the Nintendo Switch 2 are back to being a single screen experience, it does make you kind of wonder how they're going to try to make that work. Maybe they could try to do something with like the mouse controls on the Joy-Con 2s, where maybe like you could move the mouse like a stylus or something kind of to kind of replicate that, and then maybe they'll just have like two screens like on your TV where one is for the bottom screen, one is for the top screen. I'm sure you guys have seen all of those like crazy mock-ups too, where some people are talking about the idea of having like a second screen attachment maybe, where you could kind of attach that to your Nintendo Switch 2 system, and then it becomes kind of like a DS where you've got like the bottom screen, which is the touch screen for the system, but then a top screen to kind of display some of the other stuff like a mini DS. So they could try to do something like that too, and apparently there have been like patents that people have discovered too for some type of component like that maybe there could be like a second screen add-on or some type of attachment. So I do think that Nintendo is kind of thinking about these types of things, and even the fact that they got like Virtual Console or Virtual Boy, I think, like working on the Nintendo Switch 2, and they had an entire accessory released for that, I think that it's not really too far out of the realm of possibility to think that there could be something like coming out for having Nintendo DS and 3DS games also working on the Switch 2. But yeah, just the fact that he didn't like outright deconfirm the possibility of that happening too, like he didn't even say like this would be a challenge because of like the two screen experience possible on a DS and the 3DS, so we don't really know how it could work on the Switch 2 or anything like that. It kind of makes it seem like they already kind of have an idea of maybe what they could do, so that is going to be cool to see. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, definitely be sure to click that like button and also subscribe to the channel as well. I'm definitely gonna have some more Nintendo videos, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on that. Comment down below and let me know what you think about this. Would you be excited to see Nintendo DS games come to the Nintendo Switch Online? How do you think that it could work? And how do you feel about some of the other things that we talked about here as well, with how the Nintendo Switch 2 could be getting another price increase with like the memory crisis, and also the possibility of like leaks and stuff with Nintendo? So how do you feel about it all? Definitely be sure to comment down below and let me know. But if you don't have anything to say about it, just comment your favorite emoji down below for some engagement. I would really appreciate it. Go follow me on Twitter at Aero so you can be featured in videos, and also join my Discord server as well. We've got a bunch of people in there. We're always talking about Pokemon and Smash Bros and Nintendo, so definitely be sure to join that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching.